You are now listening to
Likely to Dispute,
hosted by Monkas, Reed, and Tyler.
How's everybody doing? It's Cevan, aka the Monkas. Joining with me today, as always, is my two first week losers, Reed and Tyler. And this is episode 28 of Likely to Dispute.
We have our first true in-season episode this week. We gave you the week one preview last year, but obviously there was nothing, or last week, but there was nothing to recap then. Now we have a full recap and a full week two preview. First week of games are done. We don't even have an opener this week. We're doing a test run, see how it looks with the recap into the preview. But we'll be back with some fun openers next week. But right now, we're jumping right into the week one recap. First week of games. Been waiting for this since we started recording this in April, and we're jumping right into our first matchup. Kim K, Andrew Sumner. We all, I believe, sorry, I need to pull these up here, but I believe Tyler and I selected Sumner to win this game. Cevan selected Kim K, and Tyler and I came out victorious here. Obviously, some storylines here on each of the sides. But first off, I mean, I'll start us here just with the main point here. We got our studs and our duds from each game. Christian McCaffrey being the biggest one here. I mean, dude was not the same level of chunk gains that he usually was in the past, but he got all the touches he needed to. And, 23.2 feels a little low for someone that had whatever, mid-20s. So how many touches did he have? 27?
Who?
McCaffrey.
like
31.
it wasn't 30, yeah, 30 something.
Yeah,
Okay,
he had 31.
there we go. 31 touches, 23 points is pretty impressive. But at the end of the day, that was exactly what Sumner needed because, here he is coming off a year where he didn't have him for most of the year. And obviously that affected his season quite a bit. So a big stud there is McCaffrey. I'll pass it to you guys on either side here. Thoughts on the matchup? Anybody from either game that kind of stood out? Anything to take away from this game moving forward on the kind of this low scoring matchup?
Well, you said low scoring matchup. This was the lowest scoring matchup of the league this past week. So, yeah, a lot more bad than good, but it's only week one. There's still plenty of time to get things right here. It was a little bit hard to pick out a stud on Cam K's team. Unfortunately, George Kittle got injured because it did look like he was off to a strong start there. So, kind of a stinging stud here because sure he was good for the drive he was out there, but now we don't have him for 4 weeks. So low
At least
scoring
four.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kittle was my pick for this game. We just kind of split these up here, and he was my pick because he had 14.5 points, which was tight end 12 on the week, but he did that literally on the first drive of the game exclusively. He got hurt after that and did not come back in the game. Was in street clothes on the sideline on the second half. So he accrued 14.5 points in the first drive alone. So, big loss there for K. Someone who was one of the rare two tight end starters with Kittle and Hawkinson is now going to be without Kittle for at least 4 weeks here. Cevan, what'd you have on this matchup here?
Yeah, I mean, I had Cam K, but as far as, Sumner's outlook, this is just one of those ugly ones that you're going to have a bad week and you just hope your opponent scores less. It's week one. Everybody's getting, the NFL roster is getting their shit together. But I mean the Tyreek versus Waddle matchup ended up being a wash. Things just didn't go Cam K's way. A lot of duds. Yeah, it was a ugly beatdown.
Yeah, I think you made a really good point there that these matchups don't feel fun. Like winning a game like this is not something when you're the winner of the matchup that you're like you feel good after it. You just don't. But in the end of the day, especially when it comes to a league like we have with 6 teams making the playoffs, so only half the league and 2 buys, you need to stack some of these wins where it doesn't feel very good. But those are the wins that matter just as much in the end as when you score 180. Okay, not literally just as much because of points for, but games like this matter. And in the end of the day, we're not going to remember that he won this one ugly. He's just going to have a win. And getting that bye being so important to avoid any potential madness in the first round. Like, these are important. And this is a huge start for Sumner, someone who's looking to make a huge jump off of last year, finishing second to last in the league. This is a great start to start 1-0, even in a low-scoring game. But I did want to touch 2 quarterbacks there. in the duds. CJ Stroud did not look very good. Rams had him scrambling, seeing ghosts back there. They totally shut down Nico Collins, as we'll talk about a little bit later, but just nothing going on there. Scrambled more than I've ever seen him in that game. Couldn't get anything going through the air. Didn't score any touchdowns in the whole game. The Texans. So not good there. And perhaps one of the biggest duds of the whole week. Cevan, captain of the Trevor Lawrence hate club, is feeling pretty vindicated right now. Missed a lot of open receivers. Obviously, a wonky game because of the rain delay that was right in the middle of that one. But yeah, Brian Thomas only having one catch, missed a lot of open receivers. Really benefited from playing a really poorly prepared Panthers team at this point. So that'll be a really important one to keep an eye on because although Sumner has a lot of quarterbacks on his roster and he has a lot of them, he needed Lawrence to take a jump here if he really wanted to be a contender. And we didn't see that in week one here.
Yeah, one thing just to touch on Lawrence a little bit, while his stat line was not great and he did leave a lot on the field, they also, again, they were playing the Panthers. They didn't really need to throw the ball crazy. Um, they had a really effective run game. Um, and then on top of that, well, I mean, just a quick fast forward, like they're going to be playing another bad defense next week, but we expect the Bengals to get back on the right path. So I could see a big turnaround for Trevor next week. But as far as this week, not great.
At the very least, the Bengals will score enough points to force them to pass in the second half.
Yes, we expect at least. They
I hope
looked
so.
pretty
God, I hope so.
garbage last year or last week.
I'm going to be in trouble if they don't. Let's just say that. Tyler, any final thoughts here before we move on?
Nope.
Week one, matchup number 2. We have the Monkas here taking a victory against a Schrader squad that was looking very sickly before the Sunday night game where Derrick Henry ran through some folks here. So, yeah, obviously, as I mentioned, Schrader's score was quite low. He got a goose from K. Dotton, which getting a goose from any player in a game that does not leave injured is not fun. But speaking of that, he also had a player leave injured with Xavier Worthy in a goose. So yeah, he was projected for, I believe, like 85 points heading into Monday Night Football. Derrick Henry puts up 30, gets him to over 100 here, but just not enough for the big Monkas squad here. Big performance from Penix. Cevan, we'll start with you here. What are your thoughts here on your week one win?
Yeah, I mean, for as ugly as it looked league wide, as far as, the upper echelon X superstar X Factor caliber players. I think I like how my team performed. I mean, outside of, the dud on the screen, Mark Andrews got the first reception or the first completion for Lamar this season, and then didn't see another target the rest of the game. We already touched on the Bengals, but bad performance all around if you weren't a Chase Brown owner with T. Higgins there. But outside of those two, I thought I put up a very respectable week. I hit probably about league average 130, which uh, more often than not, you're probably going to win your matchup if you can get to
Mm-hmm.
130. And so, knowing there was still a lot left out there roster wise, I feel pretty good going into next week. And then, obviously, I'm sure it'll probably get brought up, but the Tank Bigsby news. Looks like the Jags chose a running back, and it was Travis Etienne. Really happy to see that. And then last thing I'll say about my team, I think the biggest question mark we all had on my team was Michael Penix, and he ended up being my highest scorer. So that's another positive note right there.
Yeah, I think kind of similar to what I talked about with Sumner, like the what you said there. Like if you put up about 130, you're not going to win every matchup, but you're going to put yourself in a really good spot to do that. I mean, 130 to 135 is about the league average, so just stacking 130 point weeks will put you in a better spot than not in the regular season. So yeah, even though nobody on your team really went off, you had everybody do their part other than Mark Andrews, and that really goes a long way to stacking victories in the regular season. Tyler, your thoughts on the matchup here?
I'll talk about Schrader. The alarm bells are sounding for me. I know we didn't feel the best about his team going into the season, and I know you can't, totally overreact in week one, but he is going to be without Worthy for some time. Marvin Mims was starting in a flex spot. Yikes, that's not going well. This roster is seriously in rough shape. And I know Derrick Henry's a beast. It was a lot of fun to watch Sunday night. Brock Purdy is questionable
Mm-hmm.
for this week. So it's just like it's going to be really difficult, I think, for any of us to pick Schrader as a winner in any of his at least near-term matchups. We'll see if some players kind of break out or if he gets some of those players a little bit back, a little get some back sooner than expected. But rough week for Schrader, and unfortunately, it came with some bad news for his team. So I'm
Yeah.
worried for his team, Cevan's team. I don't have much else to say.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot to mention the Purdy one too. He's missed an intermittent game here and there over his time as a starter, but now apparently has two injuries, both a toe and a shoulder. Didn't come out of the game last week, but that apparently is a thing now. I mean, the 49ers are just, I don't know what's going on
Cursed.
there. Just, yeah, something is happening that's causing all these dudes to get injured, but everybody's always hurt there. How is McCaffrey the healthiest guy on your team? That's crazy. So,
Y-
but go ahead, Savon.
Sorry, yeah, just to touch on Schrader's team, I do want to say I do think there is some intriguing pieces not in the starting
I
lineup.
was just going to say the
Yeah,
same thing.
yeah, he had Jaden Reed, who's, your boomer bust type play that kind of seems like what he needs at this point over a guy like Mims. He's got Jonnu Smith, who oddly enough, I mean, he had 15 yards and a touchdown, but he had 6 targets in the offense. He also got a jet sweep designed for him, so he could end up being more relevant than we think. And then going all the way down to the taxi squad, we
Hmm.
had Dylan Sampson, who had 8 targets. Targets for running backs in a full PPR league are key. He got 20 touches as a fourth round rookie when we all thought Jerome Ford would be the lead back. And so while it is grim, I do see I see some upside to be had. So don't count him out just yet.
Yeah, Samson's a big one there that I was going to mention here. And a team that, could be potentially out a quarterback if Purdy's hurt, out Xavier Worthy. Who knows the reliability of some of the other players. If Samson's able to get a reliable workload, that would go a huge distance for him to be staying competitive each week after some of the guys he's had to put in the lineup right now. So match number three is a tough one for me. My entire team shit the bed here. Not a good week for me. Cam Thorn, no discredit to him though. Just as we talked about, stacking solid weeks is very important in the regular season, and there's no discredit to him at all. His team, despite horrific quarterback play, I mean, Tua under 10, Bryce 12 in the starting lineup, he still stacked up a league average week here behind some pretty good performances elsewhere. So I'll pass it to you guys first. What do you guys have on this sad matchup that occurred?
You got it,
Uh,
Swan.
yep. For me, I think a big underlying thing here. This isn't going to be about the matchup right away, but about Camden's team. He had 4 tight ends score double-digit points, and the two he started, Tyler Warren and Sam Laporta. I think that's just going to be, a staple on his team. Sorry, tight end premium league. Tyler Warren looks like he's going to be the next big rookie tight end. Looks like the focal point of the offense, the passing offense, sorry. Um, and then same with Laporta. If the Lions offense is gonna, you know, sputter, then why not just throw it to your tight end that's always going to be around the line of scrimmage. Same with Zach Ertz. He's still relevant. Brenton Strange, the tight end for the Jags. So I think that's really cool that he's able to have that much productivity from tight end spot. And then yeah, Reed, if your quarterbacks are scoring single digits and Jamar Chase is a zero, then you're not going to win very many weeks.
Yeah, I had 22 points combined between Dak, Jamar, and Joe Burrow. Like, there's just nothing I can do at that point,
Yeah.
and I'm not betting on that to happen ever again. That those three combined for that few points. Like, there's most weeks one of those guys will score 22 or higher almost every week. So, yeah, I don't have much to say here. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong for the most part. Didn't sustain any major injuries. We'll see if London's healthy next week, but. Yeah, Garrett Wilson's a bright spot. But yeah, Josh Downs, to be fair, a wonky game where they didn't really pass it all in the second half, but clearly getting his workload siphoned off into Tyler Warren. Jawan Jennings got hurt. Who knows if he's going to be healthy here short term, long term. Seems like it's not too bad, but yeah, I don't have a lot to say here on my team. Cam, stacked up a great matchup here. Puka's a stud. He's going to be crazy good this year as long as Stafford's healthy. So, Tyler,
Yeah.
any thoughts here?
Yeah, we haven't redone our power rankings or anything since last time we talked here, but
That was like last week.
yeah, I know, but I'm just leading into my point. I was gonna say if we did, in my head, Camden's the biggest riser.
Hmm.
I don't know if that would have translated to a spot move up or two, maybe something like that. Trying not to overreact, but the the long and short is there are a lot of players on his team that performed better than I thought they would, and a good amount of it seems legit. Uh, so I really liked the way his team performed, and I think he is someone or at least I, maybe didn't give enough credit to before the season. But again, it's week one, week two, so still more to be seen there. But I really like the way some of his players were performing, and he could definitely be someone to watch as the trade deadline grows closer, and maybe he parlays one of those tight ends into a better quality quarterback.
Yeah,
Can I can I
go
ask a
ahead.
follow-up to you, Tyler?
Hmm.
With the maybe overproduction that wasn't anticipated, does it get negated at all by the atrocious quarterback play?
Not, I mean, Tua is definitely worrisome. I won't be out here defending Tua, but I mean, like I said, I could see him making a move for a quarterback. He has
Yeah,
three quarterbacks, so he can probably play matchups to a degree. So I'm not overly worried about it.
that's fair. Also, with you, Reed,
Hmm.
sorry, um, Hunter Henry did end up scoring more than Ferguson, so no matter what, you were going to be wrong.
Well, I guess fortunately for me, that wouldn't have changed the outcome. So
Yes.
I didn't lose any sleep over it. Besides, Harold Fannon's coming anyway for both of their jobs. So we're good. Another matchup here where um, had a heavy favorite, and it did turn out that way, but not because Tyler didn't give it his best effort here. So Swerly here, number two team in all of our power rankings heading into this season. His stud and his dud are his two quarterbacks. That's encouraging and then not encouraging after what we saw. And then Tyler, again, 1 foot in, 1 foot out of competing, put up a damn good fight. Some really good performances. So Tyler, we're going to start with you. A tough loss in week one, but I think you should at the very least be somewhat encouraged by what you saw from your team out there.
Yeah, I was. It was difficult to pinpoint this on one player. I mean, Justin Fields was great. Terry was pretty bad, and then everyone else was pretty mid. So it's not, I feel pretty much the same as I did last week about my team, just with one more loss. It's great to see it's great to see Fields put out a great performance against the Steelers. I know we talked about it a little bit, but he did look really strong and capable as a passer, and he looked maybe the best I've seen him in a single game performance as a passer. So I'm bringing up Bill Krosky Merritt this week to start in the running back spot. Maybe that's just because I'm willing him to do so well. Maybe it's because DeAndre Swift isn't the best. A little bit of both probably, but I'm feeling okay. It was really conflicting yesterday to try and root for DJ Moore and DeAndre Swift when Deshaun had Caleb Williams, but so it goes. Hoping to get back to 500 this week.
I have two follow-ups for you before we go to you, Cevan. Both questions about the team. Number one, Bill
Mhm.
Krosky Merritt over under 9.5 fantasy points this week.
Oh man, I don't really want to say.
Put your stamp on it, man. You
Uh,
called him up from the taxi squad. You got to put your stamp on it. Nine and a
I
half
mean, it's gonna be over.
over. Cevan, would you agree with that?
Uh, no. Do you want a reason? Because I
No,
have
no. Please, no reasons. Just a gut
well,
check.
yep,
And number
no.
two, Tyler,
Mhm.
what week does Trey McBride catch his first touchdown pass?
Hmm. Let me peep the schedule here. Next week's against Carolina. Following week at San Francisco. Following week at Seattle. I'll say week four. George Kittle caught a touchdown against Seattle. Maybe they're weak defending that tight end position. I'll say week four. And he'll
Three
catch.
touchdownless weeks to start the year again won't
I
have you
mean, hey,
panicking.
not if he's racking up the
Yeah,
receptions, but I'll
he's still
here, I'll
great.
put I'll put my stamp on 2 touchdowns against Seattle.
Okay. That makes
Mm,
up for it. Savan, your thoughts on the matchup here?
yeah. Just quick one point about Bill Krosky is we saw what the Packers were able to do with a limited Micah Parsons against Jahmyr Gibbs and company, and it
Correct.
did not look good. The
Hmm.
only reason Jahmyr was relevant this week was because he literally caught 10 passes. I know you can't just take it out, but if you take out his 10 receptions for 30 yards, he scored 2 points.
Yeah.
You take
Um,
out all 10 catches.
I
He had no
I,
points.
I know it's hard to do that, but I don't think I'm not sure we view Bill as like the pass catching back, but I
Oh,
think it's just going to be. I think he's got to get in the end zone. Uh,
we don't have
it-
I'll say one
it's
more thing. I'll have the last word here if you don't mind.
Go
I
for it.
think you're
about Bill,
forgetting.
yes.
I think you're forgetting that he was PFF's #1 graded rusher.
Okay,
And
don't.
so
Okay,
he's pretty much Walter Payton, so don't worry about it.
okay,
Hard to argue with
okay,
that.
okay.
He said the last word, Savan. No more
I know
words.
about Bill, about Bill. Now I'm gonna get into the matchup. This one was spicy, had me and Deshaun going back and forth in the chat. Uh, Leading into his dud. Uh, Bo did not look great. Caleb also did not look great, but as far as his stud, had a bunch of rushing yards, rushing touchdown that it always helps for fantasy. And then yeah, you gave him a good shot for his money. You just had a little too much inconsistency from the middle guys. Um, and then Demario Douglas getting -2 yards,
It's not even possible.
but having 8 points is awesome. I'm glad we got that. I also will predict a Trey McBride first touchdown, and I'm gonna say it's week 17 in the toilet
Bro.
bowl.
Okay.
If
Good
he's if he's
stuff.
in the toilet bowl by week 17, I really hope you would have traded McBride by then.
No, you got to keep
Oh,
McBride. Get
Okay.
Terry off the team.
I I only have a few thoughts here. I thought Sorley's performance was incredibly underrated, I think. Like the fact that again, he put up 136 points and really nobody on his team really went off. And that's scary because he has a lot of guys with the potential to go off. So if he's going to be able to get consistent performances across the board and sprinkle in a spike week here and there, like that's going to be dangerous. And
yeah.
obviously, I think we agree here that Loveland probably not going to be starting for him next week. But damn it, Kyle Pitts is there, man. He's there. Drake, especially if Drake London's out, like Pitts will be there. So
Yeah.
he's not someone, as I said, that I want to see. And this performance continues to reiterate that he's not a team that I'm looking forward to playing.
Yeah. 28-point Zay Flowers on the bench too.
Yeah, that's true. In his starting lineup, Zay Flowers had a career best game, but
Hmm.
um, yes, in the starting lineup, everyone was just consistent, solid 15 to 20 points, and then sprinkle in a 30 bomb here and there, and you're going to be in trouble playing him. So, second to last matchup of the week, Trent sneaking out one at the buzzer here against Sandy. Big JJ McCarthy, Aaron Jones performance to seal up the win for him. The wheel route touchdown, and then JJ McCarthy's fourth quarter sprung Trent from down heavily going into the second half of that game to relatively comfortably winning the game by a 13-point margin. So, Tyler, we'll start with you here. What are your thoughts on the matchup?
This is one that didn't grab my attention too much, respectfully. But it was a close one. I mean, I don't feel too different about either of these teams here. Bijan Robinson had a really weird game, scoring the bulk of his points on just receptions and not on the ground. So that was pretty interesting. I am worried, I guess, about Sandy's pass catchers with Golden Craft, all the Packers. That that could be rough to be wrestling with every week, just trying to decide who to start there and how you want to root for that. Um, yes, I know Cevan's very big on not owning Packers receivers, so I can kind of see that at work here on Sandy's team and just all those targets being spread out. But obviously, with Trent, the biggest worry right now is Brock Bowers and his health. Hopefully, for his sake, he doesn't miss too much time, if any at all. He still put up a very solid Brock Bowers game last week, though. So, yeah, I didn't glean too much from this one.
Yeah, I mean, if Sandy is worried about Packers pass catchers, he's not telling it because he is still hoarding them. Let me tell you, I've tried, and
Yeah.
they're not moving. So he's going for it all in. And I think while this didn't catch your attention with the score, I think when you look what happened on Sandy's bench, he becomes really interesting. Because when you factor in AJ Brown's probably never going to do that the rest of the season again.
Or
He,
career.
potentially, yeah. I mean, literally a career worst game from him for quite a while. But you assume he's going to be a every day or every week starter. Keon Coleman had a career best game. Keenan Allen is still a stud, and Michael Pittman is a huge part of the Colts offense. Like that becomes a very formidable receiver, flex with the rest of his lineup that he has. So while he didn't win the game here, I will say that I think my opinion of him bumped up. While I'd agree my opinion of Trent didn't really change. So Sandy, I think, still has some underrated potential to do some damage in the league. Cevan?
Yeah, that was going to be my point. I mean, obviously, this is what max points for is, but in the event that he did start those three receivers, he's the highest scoring team on the week. Um, and it's not too far off to say that should have been the decision anyways, knowing Matthew Golden's a rookie and the pass catchers, Nick Chubb's coming off an injury, Rashid Shaheed's on the worst team in football coming off an injury. So the path to starting those three receivers was there. That's why I'm bringing it up. But I agree that Tyler's first point was the receivers. I don't know if you got down to the bench before saying that, but I
I
don't
did.
think I'm okay. Yeah. Well, I don't think I'm too worried about the receivers. To me, it's more fill in your running back after Bijan, but having Bijan also covers up a bunch of holes. So it's kind of the same boat I was in running back wise, but this is a good one for Trent to squeak out. I am gonna week one victory lap uh, on JJ McCarthy. While it is so impressive to me that he had 13 completions and two carries, and he ended up a top 12 quarterback on the week. If there's one person you need to believe in, it's Kevin O'Connell. He's going to find a way to make his quarterback great. That ended up saving Trent with that stack touchdown to Aaron Jones in that game. But yeah, these are the ones you want to squeak out when you're having a terrible week, but your opponent's just somehow doing worse. So got a
Mm-hmm.
couple of victories like that this week that, like to Reed's point, you never know you're not going to remember what the score is. Just when it's playoff time, you're going to either be in because of that one win or you're going to be out.
Yes. Very important for Trent, trying to surprise us all after just missing the playoffs last year. Come in here and try to make the playoffs this year. So our last matchup of the week here, our prime time matchup of the week, one of the coolest matchups I've ever observed in fantasy football was this one. 0.05 points is the difference. Justin Jefferson getting the last pass of the Vikings game, taking it to the exact yardage that Rob needed to sneak out a last second victory after Ian's quarterbacks came back in a head to head duel on Sunday night to bring him back from when he was projected to lose comfortably to putting up 75 or 65, somewhere in there, points between the two to put him back
72 and a
72
half.
back in the lead and forcing Justin Jefferson to bring Rob to the promised land in the first game of JJ McCarthy's career. So awesome matchup. Our first primetime matchup of the week was insane. Cevan, your thoughts on two heavyweights here dueling it out?
Yeah, I will say, Ian, I know you're listening. Rob was on tilt in our four-way group chat we have. So, uh, Rob, if you're listening, I will also say Ian texted me individually, uh, worried as well. So that's what you want to see. Some performances on Ian. He had, Brian Thomas Jr., who we talked about, got super lucky not lucky, but he had that one touchdown on a carry. Nico had one of his worst performances, and Joku under 10 in a PP or a tight end premium league. So, Rob, you needed everything you got from your team. Uh, all came down to, a Josh Allen kneel, Josh Allen sack, whatever you want. That's what it came down to in this matchup. So, uh, it was fireworks. It was fun. It literally came down to the last few minutes of the fourth quarter. So on the Monday Night Football game. So that's always fun. I'm glad you took Ian out because he needs as many losses like this as possible.
Tyler, your thoughts on this one?
feel like both teams deserve a win here, so we should just take away Cevan's win this week and give it to Ian. That seems most fair considering these are the two highest scoring teams on the week. It sucks that Ian had to lose. That's not glazing. I would have said that about anyone, including Cevan, if you were here. I don't really have any notes on any specific players. I was paying pretty close attention to this matchup, just like I was my own. So it did not disappoint. I just like Bills Ravens on Sunday night. This might be the best game of the year in fine dining, at least. So
I,
Yeah.
no notes.
I
I
will say real quick,
go ahead.
instead of taking away my win, I say we take away Reed's first win since he was the only one to
Hmm.
score under 100 points this week.
Well, when I drop 150 next week, you're not going to be saying that to me. As long as
Noted.
Ian doesn't drop 170, we'll be okay. But I think there's one more point I wanted to make here. Is something that got brought up both on Ian's episode and around Ian's episode, because Tyler brings him up every episode. Like the ability for his quarterbacks to cover holes on his team makes him so dangerous. I mean, again, obviously, Allen and Lamar will not be putting up 72 combined points every week, let alone playing each other to do it. So the back and forth nature of that game is what allowed them to both have fantastic games. But again, you're looking at two guys who were first or second round redraft picks in Brian Thomas and Nico Collins combining for 14 points. His tight ends, like you said, in tight end premium league scoring less than 10. Omarion Hampton had 17 touches and scored sub 10. Like you're looking at basically a lineup outside of Egbuka and his two quarterbacks that underperformed, and he still put up 150 because his quarterbacks put up 72 combined. Like the ability for his quarterbacks to cover holes in his roster on a week-to-week basis is pretty incredible. And again, we're probably not going to see this level of quarterbacking combined, but yeah, there's a reason he was number one in our power rankings, and they cover up a lot of holes. And I'm glad he didn't squeak this one out because he didn't
Yes.
earn this shit. Rob earned this shit. Hashtag fuck Ian.
I was scolded for saying that about Ian's team, about how those two quarterbacks alone can just carry his team. And you're like, oh, but he doesn't have running backs.
Well, okay, yeah, and I stand by that comment because again, next time he gets 72 combined between his two quarterbacks, let me know. It might happen like once, maybe
Yeah.
twice.
And you might have to let me know if it happens on your ass next week.
Oh, God, I hope it doesn't. But I'm sorry. I'll finish up here, Cevan. Like,
Yep.
yes, that does matter, and that's why he's the number one in all of our power rankings. But you think my point was that you think that covers up all holes every week. They're not superhuman every week.
No.
Which is why he was in a tier with other people in my power rankings. So, yes, they cover holes, period. They just do. They're two of the top three quarterbacks in fantasy at worst, but they don't do the 72-point thing every week, which is what he needed this week to do what he did.
Yes.
So it was a good week for him to have that. So on.
Yeah, just to put this in perspective, we're in a start 9 league. Josh Allen, Emeka Egbuka, Lamar Jackson would have combined to beat Reed by 1 point. Just those three players, which is disgusting.
That is awesome.
Yes. So yes, very fun stat there. I'll wear that because nothing else I could have done. It's not like I put together a shitty lineup where all my good points were on the bench. All my team just shit the bed. So I'll wear that. That's a fantastic stat. But yes, a very fun matchup here. A very fun start to the year. A great start to the primetime matchups of the week. And two teams that we'll be watching very closely moving forward for very similar reasons. Finally, wrapping up our week 1 recap, we have our picks leaderboard from week 1. Pretty close spread. Cevan sitting at 500, me just above 500, and Tyler, number 1 on the week at 5-1. His only mishap being by 0.05 points in the Ian Rob matchup. So a damn good week overall from Tyler, and overall for us.
Stop the count.
Yeah, stop the count. Hashtag stop the count. All of us sitting at or above 500, which is good. How did you guys feel week 1? Did you feel good about your picks? Or week 1's the hardest. You know the least about all the teams. I feel like we should be close to or above 500 in every week combined between us. What do you guys think?
For me, I think I probably just missed on the 50-50 ones.
Every
There was
matchup's
a few.
50-50.
Okay.
I I didn't just pick strictly based on power rankings, as
Yeah.
evidenced by picking Cam Thorn over you, Reed. I always only want to do that, and so that confirmed my priors, at least for now. We'll see if I go 1-5 this week and
What
totally
prior were you? What did that confirm?
that it's okay not to just go strictly off the power
Well,
rankings.
yeah,
What?
obviously the best team doesn't
Okay,
always win, but that's not
right.
the. Never mind. Never mind. Never
No,
mind. I don't like
I'm
you
not
guys.
I'm not trying to open a can of beef here.
The can's been opened. It's a can of fucking spam. That's what it is.
I don't hear you at the bottom of the leaderboard.
Watch it, buddy.
And
It's
the
a low
standings.
blow. That's a
And the
low blow.
standings.
And I'm not at the bottom of this leaderboard, just the sleeper one. Week 2 preview. Moving on. Week 2, Trent at 1-0 coming off, I guess we'll call it a big win, but a win nonetheless versus Tyler coming off a very tough week 1 matchup. But all three of us are picking the 0-1 team. Not all of us. We're very confident in Trent's win, and we all seem to feel more confident in Tyler's loss. Obviously, points scored wise, they were 5 points apart, but we're all liking Tyler here. So Tyler, we'll go to you last. Cevan,
Mhm.
brief explanation here on why you're picking Tyler in this week 2 matchup.
Bill, 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 Bill,
That's
Bill.
fair.
Let's go.
That's too many bills
That's
for me, but I support it.
yeah. Listen, you're putting in the rookie who just took over. You got a guy traded. He scored a touchdown. He was PFF's #1 graded running back. All the behind the scenes metrics are saying this guy is the truth. He's coming into the lineup. He's doing what Jahmyr Gibbs couldn't do. Yeah, that's right. This is Walter Payton reincarnated. That's a quote from Tyler, by the way. Yeah, I like the vibes going on. Uh, a lot of these players on Tyler's team were just one play away. Terry McLaurin's going to get more involved. I mean, this arguably could have been matchup of the week, but I like Tyler getting back on top, getting the standings tied up 1-1 for both of them.
Have we ever seen better vibes from an 0-1 team than
I
Tyler's
don't
team right
think
now?
so. It's just Tyler's aura. It's the way he carries himself. It's the swagger.
Wow.
It's the co-host of the podcast. This guy
Uh,
knows ball. He knows what he's talking about.
I think it's important to note that Cevan and I both agreed that Tyler had one of the most auralist teams in the league. And it feels like Bill turns this team from
It
auralist
does.
and he elevates his teammates like Tom Brady did for decades. He
That
elevates his teammates to gain that aura back.
He
that
does.
and Greg Dortch calls Traquan McBride. So that
Traquan.
That's all the more you need. And last thing to
yeah.
point out before we go to Tyler, tight end 1 versus tight end 2 matchup. I'll let you guys fill in the blank on which one's which, but Bowers versus McBride this week, which will be just as good as Allen versus Lamar on Sunday Night Football. Tyler, you're picking yourself as well.
Yeah.
Why
Well,
is
that's
that?
I was actually going to bring up Bowers. I guess I know official injury reports have not come out yet, but if Bowers misses this week, which is very possible, that would be a huge blow for Trent's team. And so perhaps I was baking that in a little too much and picking myself. But I guess do you guys think Bowers will play?
I
Because
think
that's
he'll
kind of what
play.
okay.
Yes, from what I saw, they said he was good to go in the
Okay.
game. There was just no point for him to go back in.
Okay. Well, I'll still pick
Yeah.
myself, but feeling a little bit less confident. Um,
That
but
that
go ahead.
11:45 p.m. touchdown on Monday night is gonna hit.
Oh gosh.
11:45 p.m.
Yeah, the
What?
game's at 9
Oh my God, I didn't even see that. That's
Yeah,
Wild.
horrific.
That is bad.
Tyler, you'd
because
be
it's a
lucky
double header.
if Bowers plays because if Bowers is out, you know who he's putting in?
I
Rashad
don't know.
Bateman.
Oh,
And then you're going to be in trouble because he's going to come back to haunt you with 2 long touchdowns.
he might.
The
So,
trade that came back to bite you.
yeah.
This is gonna be a good matchup. I like
Yeah.
this one.
I'm excited. I personally am feeling optimistic about the team without even saying Chikori Krosky Merritt's name. There's no one that really gave me a huge reason to be worried here. So should be good.
Mm, Not even
Matt,
Mike Evans?
I I'm not
Tyler hates Mike Evans. Tyler hates Hall of Famers.
Oh
come
yeah, I
on
forgot.
now.
I forgot.
Week 2, Rob coming off the big victory, high score in the league, and Cam Thorn coming off an upset victory, according to two of the three of us in week one. Gonna need better quarterback play after, Rob acquired Patrick Mahomes this offseason, notably. Bryce, Tua, and Darnold. One of the three, if not two, will need to step up their game if he's going to want to do it this week. But nobody's picking Cam Thorne this week. A really tough start. Okay, I mean, hard for me to say that, but power rankings wise, preseason, a very tough start to the season for Cam Thorne, going me into Rob in weeks 1 and 2, and then actually into Ian next week. So, not a fun start to the season for Cam Thorne, but he already not squeaked out. He already bludgeoned me for one victory. Maybe his defense can clamp down Rob this week, but none of us are buying that. Cevan?
Yeah. I mean, Rob just put up the most points on the week. He took down everybody's front runner. Um, just stay on the train. Robert does not like Reed, and Camden just put he just, whatever word he used, bludgeoned. He just
Yes.
bludgeoned Reed. So Reed's or Camden's on a high horse. Robert's shutting that shit down, and he's going to be 2-0. Expect a repeat 150 plus from Big Rob here.
Cevan, now, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but have you considered that Cam Thorne is coming for your defense crown? That everybody that plays him is suddenly going to forget how to score points. Has that worried you at all?
It's been 1 week. I mean, this study's been going on for a decade almost, so he's going to need a little bit more time in the league to
Okay.
establish the clamping part.
That's fair. Tyler, any other thoughts here on the Rob matchup, or are you just taking the team you think's better here?
It's close. I really like Roberts running backs this week. Bucky Irvin facing Houston and Brees Hall facing Buffalo. I think those guys could really carry his team this week. That's part of the reason I picked Robert. Just wanted to touch on those matchups there.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to mention that we've mentioned before with Cam Thorne's team starting both Laporta and St. Brown. Even in past years with the Lions being an elite offense, that's still scary because it just limits the ceiling to have two players. Because if the Lions score a touchdown, 99.9% of the time, only one of those guys is getting a touchdown's worth of points. So in weeks like this one, where you're going to be going up against a team that's probably going to score a good amount of points, you need some ceiling plays. And even if Amon-Ra or Laporta have a ceiling game, it's unlikely the other player is producing well above what they're supposed to. So just a small note I wanted to make here, and something maybe he tries to rectify throughout the year, but something worth noting when you're going against a really good team for someone like him.
To that point, real quick on Amon-Ra and Laporta, it is a revenge game on Ben Johnson, so they probably are going to want to unleash what is it? Unleash the kitchen sink. That sounds right.
You mixed Unleash the Beast and Unload the Kitchen Sink.
Yeah, we're doing something with the kitchen sink. Uh,
Unleash the
I mean,
sink.
they're definitely going to try to have every single relevant offensive player dancing in the end zone for at least this 1 week. So maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. It
Now, let's consider the fact that shouldn't they be trying to do that every week?
Yes, but I think it means a little bit more this week,
Okay,
just a little bit.
that's fair. Now we have the Monkas, the 1-0 Monkers versus Andrew Sumner. Two picks here for Andrew Sumner and just one for the Monkas. Cevan, we'll start with you. You're taking yourself in this matchup, a matchup where preseason you have Sumner quite low in your power rankings, but you were separated by only 13 points last week. Why are you taking yourself this week?
Yeah, for me, tight end was my big issue last week. It's just going to be a pick 'em for now between Andrews and Kincaid. I'm switching this week. We're going to Kincaid this week. We'll see what happens. Um, but yeah, we were talking about that 130 number. Uh, I mean, I think I'll pretty consistently be around there. And then, just a bump from T. Higgins in the tight end that could elevate me to the 140s, 150 range. Also, I think I've got a number of players on my team that are capable of, you know, those super high ceiling games. So if I get one or two of those, even just one of those, it changes the outcome infinitely. And then whereas I'm just I'm remembering back to your guys or to hot takes, and this was part of it where Sumner beats me in week two. And
I
I
believe
gotta
his
end.
prediction was a season sweep of the Monkas.
Yes, so you can only get a season sweep if you win both matchups. So I gotta stop that
That
early.
checks out. Yeah, I'd agree with your point. If you get two ceiling games, you're probably going to win. I'd agree with that one. So analysis checks out there. Tyler, you're taking Sumner here. Battle the 1-0 teams here. Why is that?
I like McCaffrey to continue to get a lot of touches in week two here. Tyreek Hill, I think, bounces back. And then he has two players on his bench, or were on his bench last week that I don't think we talked about in Javonte Williams and Hollywood Brown, who each had really great performances. So I'm assuming he's going to insert those guys in for maybe Stevenson and I don't know, Ridley or whoever else it may be. I really like Andrew Sumner's, sorry, I didn't mean the full government name there. I like his floor this week, and I'll take his floor over Cevan's ceiling there. I think his team just
Wow.
has low bust potential in my mind. I don't know, maybe you
Except
agree with that,
except
Reed, maybe
except for
not.
last week.
Did his team bust last week?
I mean, 115.
A
It's a
win's a
win, isn't
win,
it?
man.
His defense
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
clamped.
yeah. I know,
But
but we're
bust
talking
is
about
like no, I mean
Just
not
say it. Just say it, man.
is
Just say it.
a sub 100 point form
God.
from a top three team in the league. That is a bust. 115 points every week. That's good floor in my mind.
A little disrespectful to Wandale to not mention him in the flex category. He had
Oh
eight
yes,
targets
him
last
as
week, man.
well. Yes.
also underrated. Already talked about it, but it is officially Travis Etienne's backfield. So I think that's a huge bump for my RB2 personally because I don't really have
I mean,
wh- uh, uh, what?
what do you mean a huge bump? He had 18. What is it like
No, no,
official
no.
or
I know.
not officially? I
I'm
mean,
saying going into last week, nobody knew how it was going to look.
yeah.
We found out how it looks, and it is, I think, way better
He's
than everybody, the
he's not
consensus at
not
least.
facing the Panthers every week either.
Well, he's playing the Bengals this week, so
Well, the good news is that you obviously have a reliable backup in Caleb Johnson ready to go whenever that is needed.
First round pick,
exactly.
Caleb Johnson.
Yes.
109 Caleb Johnson. Yeah, I don't have any strong reasons here. I think Tyler mentioned it well. The Colts defense is actually quite solid. So I expect Tyreek to have a solid week. More floor from Kamara, 75,000 touches from McCaffrey before his cap busts open. And then you're really hoping for something with Trevor Lawrence this week to get him and Travis Hunter moving. And potentially, I think maybe an underrated part is Kelsey. Worthy getting hurt was obviously on play 3 of the season, was obviously not the plan. They had a lot of their offense, I would guess, built around him. Now that he is almost certainly going to be out at the very least this week, I think it's pretty safe to say that the offensive philosophy is going to have to shift, and that will likely include more Travis Kelsey than just the 2 catches he had last week. So, um, yeah, no slight to Cevan. This was a really fun matchup and one that I consider for the our primetime game. But I am taking Sumner, but not by much.
This will not be fun to watch. This is going to be an ass beating.
Wow. BTA,
40
belt to
plus,
ass.
40 plus,
40 plus, you're stamping it.
40 plus. It
Okay.
won't be close.
You heard it here first, folks. 40 plus, belt to ass. Monkas, 2-0. I disagree. Swerly, big week 1 win. Sandy, tough week 1 loss. You'll notice the official logo changed for Swerly. I was tired of having 2 Eagles up there, so he got a logo change. Uh, 2 upset picks from you guys. I did not see that when we filled these in. Both you guys are picking Sandy here. Why is that? Cevan, we're going to start with you.
Yeah, I think as long as, well, to me, yeah, I mean, you manage your own team, but if we get those guys in that are on the bench, I like the ceiling of this team a lot better, not than Swirly's team, than the current team. I mean, we have the staple with Hurts, Bijan. I think we all believe AJ Brown is still a wide receiver 1 caliber wide receiver. We're all in on Tucker Craft, so he's got he's got at least one player at each position that can, go nuclear on any given week. And then you add a bunch of floor guys on the bench. We see a little bit of struggle for. Oh, it looks like Deshaun updated his lineup. He has Zay Flowers in the lineup, so he's going for that ceiling too there. Um, I think this has potential for matchup of the week. Uh, yeah, I like the upset.
Tyler, you're also taking Sandy. Anything new to add there?
Yeah, we saw Justin Herbert, Quentin Johnston, and Keenan Allen have a lot of success in Brazil against the Chiefs last week. I really like Jalen Hurts with AJ Brown to get on track against the Chiefs. That has the potential to be a shootout, and he could be getting a lot of points from that NFL matchup. And then, yeah, it's just hoping he updates his lineup with Keenan Allen and Pittman, maybe Keon Coleman. I I really like Sandy to have a decent chance to upset Deshaun here, even though Deshaun has a lot of firepower on his team. There's just some matchups here that it doesn't feel like I don't know. I don't feel like week two looking at the matchups screams, a bunch of boom games for all Deshaun studs like Barkley.
Hmm.
Well, maybe not Barkley, because sorry, that's contradictory. Uh like HN, Flowers, Pitts. We'll
Let
Well,
see.
me let
no,
me
even to
pose before you
real quick, I
go.
was gonna say, no,
Go
real
ahead.
quick, just even to your point with the matchup for KC, I mean, I could ex personally, I can not expect. I think the way to beat Kansas City would be through the air. So I could see them having to open up the pass game more. They have an elite run defense. I know Saquon Barkley and that offensive line is different, but I mean, this could be a week you look back on where, Barkley's only at 12 points and if I'm playing against Barkley and he only scores 12 points, I'm very happy.
Let me pose a question quickly. We're only one weekend. We're not overreacting per se, but were we too low on Sandy's team before, or is this something that we can comfortably say that we felt good with the process and he's had guys that looked a lot better than we were expecting them to?
Um
I,
I
I
think
need more information.
there's a cop out of saying like
We
it's
all
too
had
hard to
Sandy
say.
at
No,
Cevan, we had Sandy, we all had Sandy at 11. And
Yeah.
now you guys are both picking him to upset our number two team because of guys that he had either break out or reestablish themselves in week one of the season. So if it only
Well,
takes 1 week to feel this confident that he's got ceiling, were we ranking him too low?
I don't think so personally.
I don't think so yet because we were all in on one player at each position. Um, and then yes, I guess seeing week one helps, but to confirm what you're saying, I think we need to see, a few more weeks. So too early to tell, but
I
maybe.
and I For me personally, I did move him from maybe next year to playoff aspirations. So even though the rank was about the same, I still have him as in the same tier as I did people like myself, Cam K, Cam Thorn,
Hmm.
etc.
Very fair. I don't have anything to say. I think Swirly's team is better. I love Sandy as the underdog pick in this one, but uh, I think Swirly's team was really good. So I'm going to take him.
Yep.
Second to last matchup here, Cam K versus Schrader, coming off a tough week. We've got another clean sweep here. Not the first time we've seen that here within our picks. Any in-depth thoughts? Sorry, any briefly depthful thoughts here on the matchup? Obviously, we're looking at Schrader coming off a tough week. He's updated his lineup since for this week already without Xavier Worthy and without K. Dot. And so anything to add here, or are we just taking the team that we feel more confident that they're going to be good this week?
This is more
Um,
anti-Schrader than it is pro Cam K for me. Not that Cam K's team is any slouch or anything like that. It's just rough, rough over there on the Schrader side of town.
And he can absorb the Kittle loss. Like he obviously just lost Kittle to IR. He can
Mhm.
absorb that relatively well. He can throw Jameson Williams in there. I don't think we all think that the Lions will look like they did last week every week. But for someone losing a player the caliber of George Kittle, I think he can absorb it pretty well. But this is also exactly what we kind of hit on in his episode, that one or two injuries could sink him more than most teams because of the high end talent that he has versus the depth that he does not really have at this moment. So, um, Cevan, any other thoughts
Yeah,
here?
that's exactly what I was going to say, is touching on the episode we talked about him was the bench. Um, very lucky that he was able to have, one elite tight end and one very serviceable tight end. He's down to Jamison Williams, and he's an injury or a bye week away from going down a really bad path of just trying to scrap together
Hmm.
anything. But with that being said, on this matchup specifically, if they would have played each other last week, it would have been within a 1 point game. They were both around 100. So it's an ugly one. Schrader's got Derrick Henry. That always helps. But Kay last week had a few duds that I would expect to perform a little better. And so I don't think this is going to be a high scoring one by any means. This could be, a 105 to 115 type situation, but all that matters at the end of the week is who scored more.
Um, Correct me if I'm wrong, but do bye weeks start in week 4 or week 5 in the NFL?
5.
Yeah, so he'll only be down Kittle 1 week if he misses the minimum, which is not a guarantee at this point. It sounds like only be down Kittle 1 week um, with bye weeks. So he's really got to get Kittle back because if anything else goes wrong, things will start to sled downhill pretty fast for Cam K here. At least
Wait,
if he does not dip into his chest of picks yet. We'll see.
I don't even know what you mean by that. He'll
I
only
mean,
miss Kittle for 1 week. He's on
he'll
IR.
no, I'm saying if he misses 4 weeks, he'll miss his week 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if bye weeks start in week 5, only 1 week of bye weeks will he be missing Kittle for, and where he'd need to scrap together somebody if one of his players has a bye week. Whereas if Kittle
None of
was
his
playing,
players.
he'd have a bye week.
Yeah, but none of his players have a bye week.
Okay, well, Hawkinson has one in week 6, so hopefully he only misses 4 weeks. The
Yeah.
original estimate was 3 to 5 plus, so we'll see.
Yeah. For all the people listening that also don't know what a 9 route is, when you're on IR, you have to miss 4 games, and then you have 21 days to be activated again. Otherwise, you get shut down for the year. So really, you can miss anywhere from 4 to 7 weeks.
You can be on IR for as long as you want.
No, you have
No,
if you're in season, you have to
no,
be activated
that is
within
blatantly
20.
false.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It no, you have 20 because remember how many
No,
times have you heard a
when
team's
they get
open?
activated,
Yes, but
it's 21 days from them, but they don't have to get activated at 4 weeks.
read. You can read. The 21 you can no, you're wrong.
Pretty sure I'm not.
No.
I can look it up. Well, we can figure it out later and update them next week.
Well, we have our last matchup here, and finally,
Prime time matchup.
our primetime matchup of the week. Guess what? We got Ian again in the primetime matchup, guys, just like everybody wanted. We have Ian versus myself, two early season top 3 or 4 teams in the league, both of us starting 0-1. Starting 0-2 is not a death sentence by any means, but it is very much not a good thing to lose your first 2 games. Both of these hooligans are picking against me, just as they picked against Rob last week. I'm picking myself. I'm mostly going for the rubber band effect because the more that they crater, and my team definitely cratered last week, the more they get to slingshot up, just like a rubber band. The harder you pull it back, the faster it snaps forward. So I'm betting on a big bounce back week. I have a lot of good players in my lineup that did not perform like good players last week. So I'm really hoping that bounces back and we'll see a much better version of those players this week. I mean, I have some good matchups. I don't think I really need to mention too many of them, but yeah, you guys are
Well,
both taking Ian. Why is that?
the key thing with your team is you're in danger of losing Juwan Jennings and Drake London this week.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
if London is out, then I don't want to say I have no chance, but I have
yeah.
a significantly lower chance but I'm betting on
And
him playing at this moment.
it's worth mentioning that you also have the 1B running back in Seattle.
Sure, for 1 week, who played more snaps than Charbonnet? Sure.
I was hoping to get more of a reaction out of you.
I mean,
That one I'm
I
not as
can't
serious
argue with
about.
what happened, but I also think that anybody victory lapping 1 week,
No.
it's fair to be worried, but I'm not calling it after 1 week.
Yeah, I
It's
was
1 week with a new
half
OC, to be
joking.
fair.
Yeah, I
And
was
Brees Hall
half
ran all
joking.
over the Steelers last week.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not over. If next week goes similarly, then we'll be in pretty close to full panic mode because I don't have anybody else to put in at running back. So we'll be in trouble then. But I would be very, very surprised if this week goes as poorly. Not just like, even if this is a backfield that splits it more than we were expecting, he's still an incredibly talented player, and he will still be serviceable. He only had 20 rushing yards last week on 10 carries, and he had 3 catches still. So like, even if he's not the stud that I think he's, which is still very possible, like I don't think the floor is low enough that he's not startable if he's healthy. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, sorry, you go.
I was
Yeah,
just
tell her
saying one
finish
more
up.
thing. I was gonna say I'm predicting that this week is the Travion Henderson breakout game.
Wow, you waited 2 whole weeks before you blew your load. Wow.
All right.
Okay, and for me, I want to start this off with a question for you, Reed, before I get into my
Let's hear it.
it's not funny worthy. Sorry, I don't even know if that makes sense.
That didn't make sense.
Okay, assuming if one of Jennings or London miss, obviously you'd be starting Downs, correct?
Him or Ferguson, I haven't decided.
Okay, that's
I'm going to
that's
not
where
think about that until I need to.
that's what I was gonna say. If they both miss, is it Downs and Ferguson?
That or picking Harold Fannin up off the taxi squad. We'll see.
Oh, that would be full panic mode early.
No, it
Now
wouldn't.
here,
He had 9 targets last week.
so how come you can overreact to 1 week off that?
No, that's not overreacting. That's called desperation.
Okay, okay. Just make it just one.
Desperation and panic are totally different.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so Reed, I'm gonna be honest, I want you to win, but we're not playing who we want to win. We're playing who we think will win.
Well,
I want you
Tyler's
to
playing
win.
who he wants to win. He's not picking the best team every time.
Well, I want you to win because I am less scared of you than I am Ian. We need Ian to lose as much as possible. Your team has the capability easily, fully healthy, you know, fully healthy would be, Rice, but
We'll get there.
yes.
All I know is last week means Rashee Rice is getting 17 targets a game in week 7 on.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be nasty. But yeah, the I guess the scary thing about this matchup is Ian's team did not perform well and he still put up 150. Think you have the firepower to do it. You kind of need to catch a perfect storm here this week, and
a perfect storm.
yeah, you really do.
Real David
Okay.
and Goliath
Let me
shit.
let me finish. Let me finish. Um, yeah, but both of you guys are not in ideal spots, having started 0-1 and starting 0-2 in a competitive league like this where only half the teams make the playoff is not good. I don't know. I think Ian was the only one who made the playoffs last year after starting 0-2.
I have no
Um,
idea. I've not looked back at that.
I think so. But the odds drop significantly um after this week for one of you two, unless you end in a tie. So that would be cool. But
Yeah, I think you guys are acting like his team underperformed last week,
it
as
did.
if
No, I'm
as
not
if
saying
his
that.
quarterbacks didn't score 40 or 72 points. Like
I am
I
not
get,
saying that.
okay, I thank you. Acting like his team underperformed last week when his QBs overcompensated for a couple of his key players underperforming. That's not going to happen every week. So while he might get more balance from his receivers to his quarterbacks, it's not going to be like his quarterbacks continue to score 72 points and then Nico and Brian Thomas also score 20 points. That's not going to happen every week. So saying that, oh well, has everybody else underperformed, so now he's going to score 175,000 every week, like that's not going to
But
happen.
to your point, it's not going to happen every week. You're right. And
Correct.
it didn't happen last week. So now it can
Okay.
happen. Tyler already called the Travion breakout, right? Amari
It's
and
one
Hampton's.
player.
I know. Let me get there. Brian Thomas is Brian Thomas. We know what Brian Thomas did. I mean, Trevor Lawrence didn't do anything.
Mac
That's not
Jones
going to happen.
Merchant.
He's, what?
I
Oh,
said
Mac
he.
Jones Merchant. No, dead ass. That actually is a real thing.
And that's good news for
Um,
Juwan Jennings this week, isn't it?
no, because he's not playing. Um,
Mac Jones,
yeah, but
Juwan Jennings.
Juwan isn't.
He's day to day.
Um,
We'll see about that.
yes, but Hampton's gonna fall in the end zone. And Njoku's gonna take the roll back. This is I
Okay,
actually, you know what?
what you,
I'm
you
no, I'm
you've
good.
become
No, no,
you've
no. Let me
become the
call my shot
Slurp
right now.
King here. What
Let me
is your
call my shot
deal?
right now. Ian, this week sets the new highest point scored record.
Okay.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that's happened to me.
Yes, so that's my shot call. Even though
Tyler,
I
you've
do
officially
want
been
you to lead.
dethroned as the Slurp King for
Good. It's
unknown
long
reasons.
overdue.
The fuck's going on here, man? Come on.
It's gonna happen this. I don't know what it here. I'll look real quick.
It's 212 points.
I'm just gonna confirm.
It was against me.
So it would be real fitting. Um, oh nice. I have the most wins all time.
Okay. We're ending this podcast now. I don't have anything else to say. I'm very
No,
much looking
you're
forward to week
wrong.
2. It's 223, sorry.
No, it's 228 by Shams.
Okay, it was close enough.
And
Either way, looking forward to week 2. Any last thoughts from you guys?
Yeah. I want
yeah,
to. I have a question to pose, but you can say something first, Cevan.
real quick, yeah, Ian scoring 230 plus.
Okay, that's enough. My question to you guys is, prior to what week do we see the first in-season trade? You don't have to give reasoning or who, just what week.
Like a real trade? Like a trade of significance or just like any trade?
A trade of significant, or no, any
A
trade.
relevant trade.
Yeah, not like fob for a fourth round pick,
Yeah.
nothing like that.
Yeah.
That'd be a
No,
terrible
I know
trade.
what you mean. I would say pre-week, like going into week 4, before week 4 starts, like in between week 3 and week 4.
Okay,
I'd say between 5 and 6.
interesting. I was gonna say next week before week 3, we'll see one.
Is that you selling?
No.
0-2 start? Sell the farm?
Bill's taking me to the promised land.
There you go. What more could you ask for from a rookie pick?
What about free agent waiver claim?
Wrapping up here. Thank you guys all for listening. We will see you guys next week.